Hey, are you there?
Hey, man.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
So this is the deal. I'm in Benton County, Tennessee, and we bought 50 acres like 2 years ago, and I'm opening up an RV park, and we're cleaning out. It's about a 50-50 partial wooded and partial like pasture land. It used to be a farm, back in the day, and we're cleaning out trees, brush, and debris because I'm making a loop for my campground. And the first time we were burning brush, like there's a peninsula of like a field. There's a big field and then a peninsula of a big field. The rest of it's surrounded by woods. So on the left side, we're standing there burning brush, my fiance and I. And dude, they vocalized. One of them vocalized, and it done it twice. And I'm sure, looking back now, what it was doing. This is before I knew anything about this stuff. I knew nothing about this stuff. It's been like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And it done it twice. At first, it kind of sounded like a barred owl, but it ended up at the end, it was like a monkey, and it kind of trailed off onto that, And she said, "What the hell is that?" And I said, I've been in woods all my life, hunted, fished, everything, never heard anything like that. It was so loud, dude. It was just it was just too loud. At first, I thought, is that a peacock? Because peacocks, make a funky sound. But it was just too loud. Well, anyway, I told her, I said, go get the gun. And she goes inside, and about, 3 or 4, maybe 5 minutes later, on the other side of the woods, now there's like a 40-foot distance between one side of the woods and the other side. Like I said, it's like a little peninsula. And right there is where I burned my brush at. And on the other side, one of them stomped the ground and huffed at me, like that right there. But, I heard it stomp the ground, it's like so much, huh?
You probably felt it. You probably felt it.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. Yeah, well, I don't remember if I felt it, but I remember thinking, man, there's no freaking way that's a deer, because it was just too loud. I've hunted deer, I've seen them stomp the ground, all that stuff. They'll huff and stomp, but a deer is not going to come up to a big, huge bonfire. You know what I mean? They're just not. But anyway, so I've had events happen for the past year and a half. I've had all kinds of random things happen, like we burn our trash in a barrel. We live out in a rural area, and like they would come by my trash, man, and like it started out, we would have, and I've got game cameras up everywhere. They do not, it's just like everybody says, you can't get them on game camera. I don't care. I've had batteries go dead. I've had cards get zapped. I've had all kinds of crazy crap. I don't even want to talk about the game cameras, but they would come by, man, in my trash bags. There would be like a trash bag in the middle of a briar thicket with no holes in it, no teeth marks, untied. You know what I mean? And she, of course, my fiance is like, oh, it's like, yeah, untied. My fiance would be like, it's coyotes. There's no way there'd be teeth marks. It'd be caught on briars. It'd be scattered out everywhere. These things pick the trash bags up, carry them to the middle of the briar thicket, and sit down, in a clearing area and go through them, And I got to where I was, putting stuff out there, just trying to figure out what was, catch them on camera and stuff. I tried putting cameras in different spots and stuff like that. And I don't know if they're just so dark that the camera don't pick them. I don't know what it is, man, but the game camera will not catch these things. One day she had a bunch of paperwork from her job. This is when she started to believe. She had a bunch of paperwork from her job, and what got the whole trash thing started was I had a dog that we had taken to the vet and spent like several $1,000s on him to get him, he had some stuff wrong with him. Well, when I brought him back, he wouldn't eat. So I tried to give him all kinds of different stuff. Like I tried tuna, I tried chicken, and what happened was I had a whole trash bag full of food that this dog wouldn't eat. And I guess it smelled real strong. Yeah. So that's what started the whole thing of him going through my trash. Well, anyway, she put all that paperwork in that trash bag one day, and we went out the next morning. I always went to check my camera and stuff, because I knew there was activity in that trash bag. I had scattered sand around and everything. And I've got pictures of footprints and stuff, and I've got some pictures of stick structures and where they would break the tops out of my pine trees, like in random areas. There would be no storm at any time or anything like that, but there'd just be these big piles of pine boughs just, in certain areas, like, 150, 200 yards apart, just random pine boughs laying there. It's just weird stuff.
Like a little nest or something.
I never saw a nest, but it was like they were making a nest. Maybe they drug them off somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like they would pull them, break them out of the trees where this was at, and then drag the good ones somewhere else and leave the scrap ones laying there, the small ones. But I've got a footprint on camera with 4 clear bulbous toes. But anyway, what I was saying about those that paperwork, they had pulled all that paperwork out of the trash bag and stuffed it down in the barrel. You know what I mean? You have to have thumbs to do that. There's no way that could be another animal. And
Right.
it just goes on and on, bro. I've got one night we had on something my game camera did pick up, and this has been almost a year ago. Is these lights, man? There's these. It had to be some kind of UFO. And I know this stuff sounds crazy, but I've literally got an hour and a half worth of pictures. If you give me a way to send them to you, I'll send them to you. What it is, at first I thought it was just a spider web, but then that's what everybody was saying. It's a spider web. But then you look at it, and off to the left, like half the pictures it doesn't show, but the other half it shows off to the left. There's another one parallel to it. They stay perfectly parallel. It looks like what it is it's like 40 or 50 yards out from the camera in this field, and what it equates to be is like a 6 or 8 foot light bar, and it just floats around in the ground, above the ground, 10, 12 feet above the ground. And there's another one probably 60 feet, to the away from it, that's perfectly parallel to it, like some kind of landing gear or something. So this thing floats around, bro, for like an hour and a half on my game camera. I've got like 300 pictures of it, and it goes way up into the trees, like 30 foot up into the trees, and then right in the middle of it, of this set of pictures, it disappears. And there's only 3 pictures, which my game camera's on like 5-second intervals, but there's 3 pictures of this floating squid looking thing. It's kind of glowing. Now this is infrared. If it was producing any light, it'd be super, super bright, on the camera. But it's just kind of like a glowing little, it looks like a squid, probably about the size of a car hood. No idea what that thing is. But this is what I was getting to about the deer. Now, all this stuff's happened. There's been other stuff too, but I'll get to the main story. About 3 weeks ago, I was working out of town. I do masonry work. I build outdoor fireplaces. And I was out of town. I was a couple hours away. And my chickens, a possum had gotten into one of my chicken coops and got a hold of one of my roosters. So she calls me freaked out, and I said, well, I'll come home tonight. Well, I was staying at a motel. Well, I came home that night, and I went out there to check on it, and I was walking around the chicken coop, and it's right in the edge of the woods, probably 60 yards toward closer to the woods than that burn pile was, the brush pile. And I heard something behind me. So I've got a 44 Magnum on my hip, and I'm a light freak because I work, and I work a lot at nighttime. So I got headlights and spotlights and stuff, rechargeable lights. So I heard something behind me, and I spun around with that light, dude. And there was 8 of them standing there, like 40 yards away from it. And I've tried so hard for so long, man, to get them on camera. But dude, I'm telling you, I understand what people say. It freaks you out, man. You don't piss on a camera, dude. You want to get the fuck away from that shit. You know what I mean? It's like, damn. Like I spun around. I mean, I never expected to ever get that kind of contact with them, And but I spun around, dude, and they're like 40 yards away from me in the middle of the trees, and they ducked down. Well, they're all ducked down, but there's 1 or 2 of them standing up, and what I seen when I turned around, what I focused on, there was one on the ground, kneeling on the ground. There was one up behind him, I don't know, 7, 8 feet tall, and he ducks down as soon as I spun around, and it just fucking freaked me out, dude. So I start walking backwards, man. I draw my gun. I start walking backwards, and I'm yelling for her, I want her to come out and, see them, prove to them. And it just happened in a split moment. So I back up like 20 or 30 yards, and I yank my phone out. I made a little bit of distance enough to where I felt like, but look, man, it don't matter. It's like I told her, it don't matter if you've got, it don't matter what kind of gun you got, unless you've got an AR-15 or something like that. You might take 1 or 2 of them with you with a little revolver. Of course, a 44 Magnum will blow a hole in anything, but you're talking about a revolver with 6 shots. They'll pick you apart. You know what I mean? You're talking about something, they'll pick you apart. You might get a couple of them, but you're going down. So anyway, I get my phone out, and at this point, I'm like 60 yards away, so you can't really see them, but you can see when I first drug my phone up for like 10 seconds, you can see one of their eyes above a branch that's like 7 or 8 feet off the ground. It just looks like a little ball sitting on top of the branch, where it's glowing, their eye shine, and then it goes, and then it drops. So that's how, you can tell the height of them. Okay, so I get her out there, and I'm trying to figure out, I didn't really want to walk down there, but I'm telling her about it, and she's still skeptical. And so I get frustrated. I said, get in the truck. and I knew where they were going. See, there's a house on one side, but I kind of, been paying attention. I think I know the area that they're staying in. They're not here all the time. I live close to the Tennessee River, so they're not here all the time, but this is one of their camps, and I think I know the area where they're at. So I told her, I said, get in the truck. So we went around and flanked them, dude, and we sure enough caught them right in the tree line. And they stood there for like 20 or 30 minutes, and we sat there in the truck, just kind of, I'd move forward a little bit and back up, and they just kept peeking around the trees. I've got it on video. I can send it to you. And these eyes, man, this is what I told her. She said, I said, now, you can hear me on the video saying, now do you believe me? And she said, well, I see eyes. But look, man, when you see a deer's eyes, like I've got one video, one of them we're like 60 yards away. I didn't want to get too close. So you can see me trying to zoom my camera in. So that gives you distance right there. You know what I mean? So you can kind of tell when you're looking at the eyes how freaking big they are, dude. When you see a deer's eyes that far away, you see a twinkle. It's kind of like a Christmas light. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These things look like softballs. They look like glowing softballs. And the majority of them were like a fluorescent green, but there was one that had orange, like glowing, like a fluorescent. They wasn't glowing. It was eye shine. It wasn't eye glow. It was eye shine. But one of them was like an orange, like a fluorescent orange. The rest of them were fluorescent green, and one of them had like a bluish color, like a deep, like a, I don't know, like a, it wasn't like baby blue, like sky blue. It was like a darker blue, like a deeper blue. And then one of them had two different color eyes, but the rest of them had green eyes. So this is the deal where I say they turn into deer.
That's really interesting because that's really interesting that you say that, because I've heard about Sasquatch that have these different colored eyes, and they have the green ones, the blue ones, and the yellow ones, and these are their auras, and it has to do with where they live, apparently. Like the green ones live in the forest, the blue ones live close to water, and I forget what the yellow ones do, but the red ones are the bad ones, or like the aggressive ones. So
yeah, none of these were red.
You had encounters with these other ones, man. That's freaking interesting. I find that cool. But continue on. Sorry for
crazy, man. No, it's okay. I'm almost done anyway. So this is the deal. So this is, I don't know if they were stalking my chickens. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if they were watching her. We've been here for like 2 years, and I tell her to stay out of the woods, and I don't go in the woods after dark or anything like that. They haven't bothered us. They haven't messed with anything. I mean, I don't know. I think they might have killed my dog, but I don't know. But anyway, I don't want to get off into that, but because I don't have any proof. I don't like speculating on things. But so we're just backing up, pulling up, watching them, and so we decide, I said, well, I got them on tape for like 5 minutes. I've got 2 or 3 different recordings of those eyeballs. You can see them clear as day. There's no stretch. You don't have to, fake it or nothing. They're there. But so then we go to go back to the house, and we're coming back and doubling back. And when we're coming back to the house, we see 3 deer. We see 2 adult deer and a juvenile, probably 8-month-old baby bounding off. So she's saying, well, that's what that was. Well, first of all, there was like 6 or 8 sets of eyes, and there was only 3 deer. And second of all, I don't know. Those deer could have came from a different area. You know what I mean? They could have been just roaming through at the right amount of time. But I don't know. I don't know if they freaking shape shifted into those deer. I know that's excuse me. I know that sounds crazy. I don't know. Or they could have been possibly stalking those deer. I don't know. I don't know. But I know that they weren't deer. What'd you say?
It could be both, literally. Like I've seen footage where. I can't remember who it was from, but it was some guy on YouTube that had a picture from a game cam where it was literally something morphing. Like it was a deer. The back end was like a deer, and the front end was like something else. It was literally morphing into something. So it's like...
Dude, I believe that's why we don't see them. I believe that's why you can't catch up with them. I mean, I never thought nothing like that until this happened. But, I mean, unless those deer just freaking were on their way... from across the road and came down there and heard the truck and decided to take a ride, at just the perfect time. That's a huge coincidence. Other than that, man, I mean, there's got to be a reason why we can't catch up with them. You'll go through the woods and there'll be a trackway and then it just disappears. You know what I mean? I mean, there's got to be something up with that. I mean, either they go to a different dimension or they shapeshift into a different animal or something. I don't know, man, but it's crazy. It freaks me out.
It's something going on.
It's crazy. Yeah.
I'd like you to send me those pictures. That'd be freaking awesome, man.
How do I do that? I mean, a couple of them are video. I'd have to go. I'll have to go through later on today, but I can send you the videos that I got last week. Right now, they're
I'll send
you have to turn your phone sideways and you can kind of see them. But I'll send you pictures of like the very first one. That's the one that'll show you how tall they are. And I've got a screenshot of it in a little circle drew around it, so you could. It's only like a 13-second video, but you can figure it out. You know, I turn my phone sideways and you can figure it out. Just let it loop and you'll find what I'm talking about. So how do I send them?
Sasquatch.Confessions@gmail.com.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let me do that. Sasquatch.Confessions@gmail.com.
Yeah, just like my name is spelt on TikTok, that at gmail.com. And
all right, cool.
Yeah, so that's freaking awesome, man. Thank you for coming in and sharing, man. I really appreciate you sharing your story. If you would like to, I know it takes a lot of time to do this kind of thing, but if you would like to, you could also write in your encounters, because I'm going to write a book one day with my encounters. So if you're into that,
I'll do that. It'll be a while, but I'll do that. It'll be a few days, but I'll do that. But I'll get you those pictures, and I'll get you those pictures of those freaking light bars too, man, because it's got to be hand in hand.
All of it, man. I want to see it all, brother.
Okay, when I send you the game camera pictures of the freaking UFO crap, I'm going to send you a daytime shot. I've got a daytime shot from the same camera with some deer, so you can see, you know, it give you perspective on height, distance, and what's going on. You know, this is exactly, it would be, you'll recognize it. It'll be just, you know, a screenshot of some deer. That's all it is. But that'll give you perspective of where that camera was and, you know, height and everything like that. Cool. Sure. Thank you, sir.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, man.
Yep.
Take care.
How do I?
I got her, brother.